The unexpected war. They called it a friendly combat drill, but nothing about it felt friendly. Not to Sergeant Cole Jansen, standing shirtless in the center of the alien training ring, and certainly not to the towering alien warrior approaching, him with a smirk and glowing fists. She was tall, at least 7 feet. Her orange skin shimmered under the arena lights, and her long silver hair was tied high like a war banner. The crowd of aliens roared with laughter and excitement. "You sure about this, human?" she mocked in a thick accent. "You look like a toy. You break easy?" Cole didn't answer. He just crossed his arms over his bare chest, calm and quiet. The alien girl, known as Commander Zera of Clan Tharn, circled him slowly. "This is your warning," she said, tapping her armored fingers together. "I go easy first hit." The crowd laughed again. It was clear. They thought this human had no chance. Zera leapt forward and drove her fist into his abdomen. There was a crack, but it wasn't bone. Zera staggered back, eyes wide in shock. What? She looked down at her trembling fist. "You broke your own hand," Cole said finally, his voice calm. The crowd went silent. Back on Earth, Cole had been a Special Forces soldier, trained for gravity, chaos, and pain. But here, among the stars, he was underestimated, mocked, laughed at, until now. Zera cradled her hand, stunned. "What are you made of?" "Training, discipline," Cole replied, "and steel." Hours earlier, Cole had been transferred to the Intergalactic Unity Academy, a peacekeeping base where alien species trained side by side. It was supposed to be a show of harmony, but instead, he was met with mockery. Aliens whispered, snickered, and pointed. "Why is the human in the warrior unit? Don't they bruise if you sneeze on them? Put him in archives or farming." Cole stayed quiet, always quiet, until Zera challenged him. Now, standing in front of her broken pride, Cole finally became the one everyone stared at. The alien general watching from above narrowed his eyes. Interesting, but Zera's pride wasn't so easily shattered. She stood again, shaking off the pain. "You tricked me," she growled. "Didn't move, didn't speak," Cole said. "Then let's see how long you can stand." The second blow came faster, aimed at his ribs. Cole dodged slightly, letting it graze off his side. Then he moved. One step forward, one swift arm block, and Zera found herself staring up from the floor. The crowd gasped. Alien guards raised weapons, then lowered them as the general signaled to wait. Zera rose again, eyes blazing. "You're not a toy," she whispered. "You're—" She didn't finish. That night, word spread across the base. The human didn't flinch. The warrior girl of Clan Tharn lost. And Zera? She stared out at the twin moons from her quarters, her hand wrapped in medical foam. "I underestimated him," she muttered. Then, strangely, she smiled. "Now I have to fight him again." Cole returned to his bunk in silence, but even he couldn't ignore what came next. An alert message blinked on his comms unit. "New mission. Assigned, Human and Zera, joint deployment." His eyes narrowed. This war just got interesting. The challenge reignited. Zera stood in the mission hangar, still wrapping her bruised hand. The healing foam had done its job, but her pride wasn't so easy to repair. She hadn't just lost a duel, she had lost it to a human. The hangar doors opened with a low hiss. Cole walked in, calm, silent, confident. He wore his dark combat gear now, but it was clear from the way he moved. He didn't need armor. Not really. "You again," Zera said, arms crossed. "I was assigned," he replied. "Didn't ask for this." "Good," she snapped, "because I didn't ask to be embarrassed." Cole didn't react. He just checked his rifle and gear, as if her words didn't matter. But Zera watched him. Every little movement, every breath. "Why didn't you hit me back?" she asked. Cole looked at her for a moment. Because you weren't trying to kill me. You knew? I've been hit before, he said simply. I can tell the difference. Their mission was simple. Investigate a distress signal from a small outpost on the moon of Thera 4. What made it complicated was that the last 3 teams never returned. Now it was just the 2 of them, one bruised alien warrior, one quiet, unreadable, human. As the shuttle lifted off, Zara sat across from Cole. She studied his face. He didn't look like a killer, but she remembered how fast he moved. How are your bones not broken? She muttered. Reinforced calcium, human evolution, Earth's gravity, he answered. That's it? And pain tolerance. Zara shook her head. You're either lying, or your species is cursed. They landed in silence. The outpost was abandoned, dark, cold, with broken walls and blood on the floor. Zara drew her plasma blade. Cole raised his rifle. Movement, left hallway. They moved together, quiet steps, perfect sync. Then, a scream echoed through the base. Zara turned instinctively, but Cole was already gone, racing ahead, weapon drawn. She followed. They found a survivor, barely alive. A technician, his eyes wide with fear. They're still here, he cried. Hiding in the vents. Before he could say more, a shadow dropped from above. Zara swung her blade. Cole fired 3 precise shots. The shadow fell, dead before it, hit the floor. What was that? She breathed. Cloaked assassin drone, Cole said. Saw the shimmer. Zara turned to him, blinking. You saw that? Yes. She frowned. What are you? He looked her in the eyes. Human. They cleared the rest of the outpost, together. Zara moved with rage, Cole with calm. She fought with heat, he with precision, and yet they covered each other perfectly. Later, under the stars, they made camp near a rocky ridge. Zara leaned against a metal crate, watching the fire flicker. Cole sat sharpening a blade. You're not what I expected, she said. Same, he replied. She looked away. You don't talk much. Most people talk too much. She laughed, softly. I thought humans were weak, small, fragile. We are, he said. She blinked. Then how do you win? Cole looked at her then. His voice was calm, but serious. Because we refuse to lose. Zara didn't answer, but she looked at him with new eyes, not as a toy, not as a joke, but as something else, something dangerous, something rare. And for the first time in her life, she didn't want to fight. She wanted to know. To the enemy within, the outpost's underground tunnels were colder than the moon's surface. Zara's boots echoed softly. On the steel floor, her plasma blade cast a blue glow on the walls. Behind her, Cole walked in silence, scanning with his rifle. They had found something strange, hidden beneath the outpost. A secret facility, human tech, alien markings. This wasn't on the mission file, Zara muttered. That's because someone didn't want it found, Cole replied. She turned to him. You think the enemy is already inside? I think they've been here all along. They entered a sealed room. It looked like a lab, but twisted. Inside were tubes filled with strange liquid and floating figures. Hybrid creatures, half human, half something else. Zara stepped back, disgusted. What is this? Cole didn't answer. His jaw clenched, his eyes locked onto a datapad. He read fast, faster than any alien expected. Zara saw it too. This says, human scientists made these things? Cole nodded once. Under pressure from the council. Why? To make perfect soldiers. Zara stared at him. They tried to combine us? Cole's voice was cold. Without asking. Either side. Just then they heard a sound, not a machine, not a drone, but a soft cough. A girl, barely more than a child, emerged from behind the pods. Her skin was pale orange with silver veins, human eyes, alien posture. She looked at Jera, first, then Cole. "You're not like them," she whispered. "Who are you?" Jera asked gently. "My name is Tira," the girl said. "I was made here, then left behind." Cole stepped forward. "Are there more?" Tira shook her head. "They all died, in pain. But I lived. I watched everything." She pointed at a dark screen. Surveillance footage. It showed council members, human and alien, arguing. Then secret handshakes. Quiet deals. Jera's heart sank. Our leaders knew. They betrayed both sides. Cole looked at her, calm. "Not surprising. You knew?" "I've seen it before." Jera turned away, fists clenched. Her entire life had been about honor, about warrior code, about strength. But this wasn't strength. This was shame. "They mocked you, Cole," she said softly. "Because you were human. Didn't matter. But it does. Now I see it." Cole knelt beside the hybrid girl. "You're not our enemy," he said gently. "We'll get you out." Tira looked up at him. "Are you really human?" He smiled. "Every broken bone of me." They prepared to leave. Jera led, blade drawn. Cole followed, guarding Tira. But deep in the dark halls, the true threat awoke. A failed hybrid, twisted and enraged, crawled from a sealed chamber. It had seen everything. It wanted revenge, not just on humans, on everyone. The hybrid strikes. The hallway lights flickered. Jera raised her blade, tense. The small hybrid girl, Tira, stood close behind Cole. Her eyes darted left and right. "Something's moving," she whispered. Cole didn't speak. He already heard it breathing, wet, heavy. Not human, not alien. Something wrong. Then, crash, a giant hybrid creature burst through the wall. It was half machine, half mutant. Long arms, black skin stretched too tight. Glowing red veins pulsed along its body. Jera reacted first. She leapt, blade slashing forward, but the creature was fast. It caught her midair and slammed her into the wall. Hard. "Jera!" Cole shouted. Tira screamed. Cole stepped in front of her. Jera groaned on the floor, her armor cracked. She had never been hit that hard before. The mutant turned to Cole and lunged. Cole ducked low, rolled, and fired 3 rounds into the creature's leg. It stumbled but didn't fall. "It's learning," he said. Jera stood slowly, coughing. "What is that thing?" "A mistake," Cole said. "An experiment left to rot." Tira cried out. "He was once like me, a hybrid, but he went mad. They hurt him until he broke." Jera's eyes softened. Even this monster had a story, but now it wanted only destruction. The fight turned brutal. Jera moved like fire, spinning, leaping, cutting with her plasma blade. Cole moved like ice, steady, sharp, calculated. Together, they fought like they had trained for years. Tira huddled in the shadows, whispering words in an alien dialect. The lights flickered again. Systems overloaded. Then she pressed a button on the wall. "I locked the back gate," she said. "It can't escape now." The mutant roared. It was trapped, and it was angry. It struck Jera again, this time knocking the blade from her hand. It turned toward her, ready to finish the job. Then, thud. Cole tackled it from the side, grabbing its jaw and driving his fist into its throat. "You picked the wrong team," he growled. He pulled a blade from his boot and stabbed deep into the base of its neck, where the machine met the flesh. The creature screamed and dropped. The silence afterward was heavy. Jera leaned against the wall, bleeding. Cole stood, breathing hard. Tira ran to them. "Is it dead?" she asked. Cole looked at it. "Dead enough." They sat by the exit hatch waiting for pickup. Jera looked over at Cole. He was wiping blood from his face. "You saved me," she said softly. You jumped in first. She smiled slightly. You really don't care what anyone thinks, do you? Not unless they bleed next to me. She chuckled, then winced. You're strange, human. You too. They looked at each other, longer than before. The pickup ship arrived, but the mood had changed. They didn't just complete a mission, they uncovered lies and built something unexpected. Trust. Back on the ship, Jera stood beside Cole in front of the council. The generals asked questions. Did you complete the objective? Was the human useful? Jera stepped forward. No, she said clearly. Everyone looked confused. He wasn't useful, he was necessary. She turned to Cole. Without him, I would have died. Without him, I wouldn't have seen the truth. Cole said nothing. But inside, he understood something too. The war wasn't out there. The real war was between them and the lies they were told. What she really thinks of human Jera stood in the medbay, arms crossed. Her bruised ribs hurt, but not as much as the questions. In her mind. Cole sat across the room, shirtless as the auto-stitcher patched the gash across his shoulder. His muscles tensed, but his face didn't flinch. Typical human. No fear. No pain. Jera hated that. But she also didn't. Why didn't you leave me behind? She asked suddenly. Cole looked up. You wouldn't leave me. Jera blinked. You're sure of that? Yeah, I've seen how you fight. You die before running. Jera turned away. Her jaw tightened. Don't try to understand me, human. I don't need to understand. I respect you. Those words landed heavier than any blade. Later, in the officers' lounge, Jera sat with her squad. The other alien warriors laughed. So did he cry? One asked. Jera sipped her drink. No, he fought like one of us. But he's soft. You saw how small he is. Jera stared at her drink. He broke the hybrid's neck with one hand. The table went silent. You're defending him? Another sneered. I'm speaking truth. They laughed again, but it sounded more nervous this time. Jera stood and walked out without another word. She found Cole near the cargo bay. He was running diagnostics on a damaged drone, quiet, focused. Your people, she said, stepping into the light. Think you're weak, small, loud. They're not wrong, he smirked. But I watched you fight. Jera moved closer. Her tone changed, softer. You didn't fight for glory or orders. Cole looked up. I fought for you. That stopped her. Jera stepped closer. My people believe emotions are weakness. And you? Cole asked. She hesitated, then whispered, I used to laugh at humans. Now, I wonder if you're the only ones who feel true strength. They stood close, not touching, but the tension between them crackled like plasma. Suddenly, the intercom buzzed. All personnel prepare for mission briefing. Jera stepped back. The moment vanished, but the silence between them had changed. It was no longer cold, it was full of something else. Unspoken trust, and something deeper. At the briefing room, General Korak reviewed the next strike. Another hybrid nest. Bigger. Worse. You'll lead this time, he told Jera. She nodded. And the human? The general asked. Jera looked at Cole. He's on my team. The general raised a brow. Are you sure? Jera didn't blink. I trust him more than most of my own. The team stared as Cole stepped beside her. Some whispered, some glared, but no one challenged. Because deep down, they'd all heard the stories, and they feared one truth. This human wasn't normal. As the ship prepared to launch, Jera and Cole stood side by side. Still think I'm loud and small? He asked with a grin. Jera smiled faintly. Yes, but now I know. She turned her head, her eyes glowing slightly in the dim light. You're also unbreakable. The nest below. The dropship rumbled. as it cut through the clouds of the infected moon. Jera tightened the straps across her armor, her face stone cold. Beside her, Cole checked his rifle, calm as ever. "You ready, human?" she asked without looking. "I'm not the one who broke their hand last time," he said with a grin. A few alien warriors nearby snorted, but none dared laugh openly. They all remembered how Cole snapped a hybrid's spine like it was made of wood. The dropship landed with a hiss of steam. They stepped into darkness. The ground crunched under their boots, bones and biogoo from previous battles. "Sensors are jamming again," muttered one trooper. "Good," Jera said. "That means we're close." The hybrid nest was alive. Walls pulsed like flesh. The air smelled like metal and rot. Red lights flickered. Distant screeches echoed through the tunnels. "Stick close. No one gets cocky," Jera ordered. But then came the ambush. Screams. Blaster fire. One of Jera's squad mates was ripped in half before she could blink. "Fall back," someone yelled. "No," Jera growled. "Form up. Defend the corridor." Oh, massive hybrid dropped from above, all claws and muscle. It charged straight at her, but Cole stepped forward first. He didn't hesitate. He didn't shout. He just raised his rifle and fired. Once. Twice. Then dropped the rifle, ducked under, a claw, and drove his knife into its skull. Black blood sprayed the walls. The creature fell. Jera stared. Her heart raced. "You could have died," she hissed. "I still could," Cole shrugged. "But not before you." That silenced her. Again. They reached the central nest, a vast chamber glowing with biolights and alien pods. Hundreds of hybrids, twitched in half-sleep. The queen stood at the center, 10 feet tall, covered in chitin armor, eyes glowing like fire. She hissed and spoke in a language older than war. "Who dares wake the swarm?" Jera stepped forward, sword drawn. "We do." Cole moved beside her. "She's the blade. I'm the hammer." The queen screamed and lunged. The battle was brutal. Jera fought like a storm, fast, graceful, and deadly. Cole fought like stone, unmoving, unbreakable, and brutal. Together, they were unstoppable. When the dust settled, the queen's head rolled across the floor. Silence returned. Back aboard the ship, the medics checked them over. Cole's armor was shredded. Jera's shoulder bled. "You didn't have to stand in front of me," she told him softly. "You'd have done the same." "I'm a warrior," she said. "So am I," he replied. She looked into his eyes for a long time, then said, "Maybe I judged your species too quickly." That night, in the silence of the ship, Jera opened a comm file. She began a report to High Command, but instead of detailing stats, kills, and numbers, she started with this. "There is a human soldier on my team. He is loud. He is smaller than us. He jokes too much. He doesn't follow perfect tactics. But if he wasn't here today, we'd all be dead. One of us, the war was over. At least this one." The hybrid queen had fallen, her nest burned, and the infection cleared from the moons. Jera stood at the edge of the landing platform, the icy wind brushing against her armor. Her fingers, still, bandaged from the fight, rested loosely on her belt. Behind her, the other alien soldiers loaded gear into the shuttle. Medical units scanned them. Reports were filed. Promotions were handed out. But all Jera could think about was him. Cole leaned against the railing, looking out at the stars. A faint scar marked his jaw. His armor was patched and his eyes, tired but alive. "You planning to leave without saying goodbye?" Jera asked. "I figured your people don't really do that." "We don't," she said. Then, after a pause, "But I do." He smiled. "I'll take that as a compliment." She walked closer. "You surprised me, human. You fought without fear, took pain without flinching, protected soldiers who mocked you." "Yeah, well, guess I'm just built different," he said, half joking. Jera chuckled. Not her usual sharp laugh, but something softer, almost like warmth. No, you're something else. Just then, the High Commander descended from the ship, a towering alien with glowing eyes and a chest full of medals. All soldiers saluted, except Cole. He stood straight but didn't bow, the commander noticed. You are the human, yes? The commander asked. That's what they tell me. The commander studied him, then turned to Jera. He fought well. Jera nodded. He bled for us. He killed for us. He saved us. There was silence. The commander gave a slow nod. Then let him be known, from this day forward. As one of us, all heads turned. Alien soldiers who once sneered at Cole's height, his voice, his humor, they now looked with respect, and maybe even something deeper. Jera stepped forward. She pulled something from her belt, a medal of honor, forged in ancient steel and soaked in tradition. Kneel, she said quietly. Cole raised an eyebrow. Seriously? Just once, she smirked. Don't make me break my other hand on your ribs. He chuckled and knelt. She placed the medal around his neck. Rise, warrior of our blood. When he stood, she leaned in close and whispered, Still think you're just a joke to us? Nah, he replied. But I do miss fries. She laughed again, full and real. That night they stood together under the twin moons. No more battles, no more yelling, just stars, wind, and the quiet bond of shared survival. Jera looked up. You know, our people used to believe humans were beneath us, weak, undisciplined. Used to. Now I know better. And if I asked you to come with me? He asked softly. I'd probably say yes, she replied. But not tonight. Tomorrow? She didn't answer. She just took his hand and didn't let go.